What's going on? It's the evening of Monday, 3rd of June. We're just rolling right into it. We're just rolling into June, just moving straight ahead. I received some stuff today, and one of the items I don't even have to wait to talk about and enthuse about. The others I haven't listened to them all, but I may touch on them. But Discus Music is continuing to send me some of their new releases. And I have to say that this new one by the Eclectic Maybe Band is, as they say, this is poppin' on all fours. Now, maybe that's some old slang, but it just hits me right. This is poppin'. I haven't even heard the whole thing, and I can already enthuse, the way it starts. First couple tracks, Eclectic Maybe Band. I was also kind of blown away when I turned over and looked and saw who was on this release. Now, I knew that Guy Siggers, formerly of Universe Zero, was a central figure in this band, as well as Martin Archer. But also on this release is my friend Carla Dereck on vocals. Now, I haven't even heard her yet. I'm only on the third track. I like this so much already, I don't even have to wait. Dave Newhouse of Mana Mirage The Muffins is on here as well. It's like, this is awesome. Some of these, Andy Kirk on guitar is another name that I recognize. Dirk Wachtelier, Jean-Pierre Suarez, those are some other names I think some of those folks are in the band already. The new Eclectic Maybe Band release, Reflection. Here's Carla. Reflection in a Mobius ring mirror. Wow. Now see, this is just hitting me on all. It's hitting me on all my sweet spots. It's got the Miles Davis, the first track. The way this starts is awesome. It has a Miles Davis electric approach sort of feel, where it's like this salad based on a groove. But interestingly, the groove reminds me, or it calls to mind, Julian Priester's album Love, Love on ECM. So it's a great groove. There's the cosmic element of sound, the sounds, the melding and the mixture of the sounds. It's cosmic, psychedelic, jazzy. Also, just I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but there is the Canterbury thing is in there. It's an indescribable texture or element that is present in this combination of sounds. I want to wax very enthusiastic about the new Eclectic Maybe Band. Reflection in a Mobius ring mirror. This is fantastic. Just right up to date. Yeah.
Holding on to an outdated version of the dream.
Wow. Guy's bass. That's another thing about this. Guy's bass. Guy. He told me it's not Guy, it's Guy. Guy Siggers. I love he has a distinct bass style and sound. I love the woody tone of Guy's bass and how I can always tell it's him playing. Oh my goodness, this is just wailing in the background, folks. Eclectic Maybe Band. I am glad that I am doing this now rather than waiting. It's like I'm going to be listening to this more and more, and all I'll be doing is enthusing more about it, because this is just what I like. This is just what I like. Absolutely what I like. So fantastic. I was hoping beyond hope that my record would come today, but it didn't. But another package came today from John, and John's always sending me music. He's so kind, you know. I went ahead and watched the DVD of this, John, already. He sent me a Government Mule, Dub's Side of the Mule. And I'm well aware of Government Mule and this whole ilk of music, which they come under the jam band banner. They're good musicians. It's what they do is it's real popular in this area where I live, you know, and I just I'm well rounded by having this, but it's you know, I don't listen to it. He sent me an album. The other two CDs I haven't even got to yet. But John sent me this vinyl. He said it didn't really quite catch his ear. Radian. On, dark, silent, off. And I've listened to it once. It's on kind of a green-tinted clear vinyl. I've listened to both sides once already, and this, to me, strikes me, I think this is actually the right way to hold the cover. This strikes me as a kind of a skeletal Tortoise, the band Tortoise, who I quite like. Seen them a couple times, met those guys. It strikes me kind of like a skeletal Tortoise sound. It's not quite electric. I think that it's the sort of thing that what it has to offer will get better with repeated listens, but it's kind of skeletal. It's kind of like, you know, my first impression is like, yeah, this is like something that I bet if I saw them live, it would make a bigger impression. But it's pretty good. 2016 is when this came out. Is it something I think some people it'd be worth their while to seek out? Yeah, I think so. Kind of like with the Government Mule. If you know this music, then you already know. And what's happening here is they're doing. Well, like I said, I just watched the part of the DVD, but it looks like the main thing here is that they're doing reggae on this, and they can, like I said, they can rock. I associate this music in my life experience. I associate this kind of music with the Grateful Dead, Deadhead experience, and for me that comes loaded with a whole lot of baggage. So whatever I say about the music, please don't take it personally. John, thank you for sharing this music with me. Certain types of music that you do send, this Government Mule, for example, it is like there's a whole storyline in my life as to why I don't cleave to, you know, that Little Feat, sort of southern fried, sort of jam boogie stuff. There's a whole trajectory as to my position with that music. So it's nothing personal about you. There's a long reason in my life why I just really kind of avoid that music. I'm surrounded with people in Omaha and my personal life who love this sort of music, and I can play it to death. I can jam that music hard. It's my roots. So that's it. It's my roots. But as I'm speaking and the eclectic maybe band continues to unfold behind me, it's just I'm loving what I'm hearing. As much as I'm talking, I'm taking it in. It's just what I like. It's like the music sounds free. You know, like there's a structure, there's an approach, and yet it's like what's happening is free in that moment. And I'm imagining every time they play these pieces, or when they will, or whenever they play this music, it's open. It happens in the moment. There may be the touch, there may be the ground points, there may be the references of this is this, but I can hear it and feel it. It's wonderful. Another Guy, Martin, Carla, Dave, everybody. This kicks ass. Eclectic Maybe Band. Don't hesitate to grab this. Now, I understand your aesthetic, Martin, about not releasing these on vinyl. It is a pain, and it's super expensive compared to, being able to afford it. But boy, these Discus releases are Coolsville, and the sort of stuff that you just, as a collector, a nerdy collector, you like, oh yeah, that'd be great to have on vinyl. Even though it's really in a very wonderful, pure form here, listening-wise, in the digital. I'm loving this. Can you catch it in the background a little bit, folks? Before I go, the last record that I played yesterday was this Emmanuel Top album, Asteroid. 3 discs. It's techno electro. It's hypnotic electro. I don't like the word techno anymore because that's too loaded, and it's electronic based, repetitive hypno. But it's that sort of stuff that is like, it seems static, but because of the way that it's gradually changing, building, and undulating, it just pulls you in. Emmanuel Top. Listen to this all the way through yesterday. A day or two ago, I listened to this. This is something that someone sent to me. I forget who sent this to me. But it's on the Spring Break Tapes label. And it's The Fun Years. I believe that's the name of the project. The Fun Years. This is a recent issue of theirs called Heroes of the Second Story Walk Up. It's on clear vinyl. No big deal. This is droney, I don't want to use the word dream. It's more like half conscious. There's parts like this where it's like, it seems like you're in a half conscious, half dream state. Like ghost figures coming through a radio that's not supposed to be on. How's that for a description? That just came to me. But I really enjoyed this. I believe it was my 3rd time through listening to this since it was given to me. I don't remember who sent this to me. It wasn't that long ago. I really like this. And I like to do drone. I don't have an approach to it that I'm fully satisfied with. So when I hear people who do drone well, and I don't think this is well, this is good, I'm intrigued at how they'll have these suspended tones, but they'll be suspended and yet moving at the same time. And it's like, I'm not always successful at making that happen. So I'm always intrigued when I hear good drone that does that. This is good. The Fun Years. Here's something I took a chance on at the half price sale that I've been finally showing because it's actually been a disappointment. It's a label that is people like to collect. El Paraíso Impetus series, 28 series. This is Mythic Sonship, Land Between Rivers. And it's like, I can't help but feel, when I listen to it, it's like, the thought is, it's like, I can do better than this. I really don't mean to offend anyone in this band if they happen to see this. But this sort of thing, if I had access to a studio, instruments, I could do it myself. But if I had a few folks in time to work with and was given the, that this is what you want me to do, is a site, kind of a stony, roiling, stoner, kind of rock-based moving thing, I can do this. So I've listened to it several times now because I have maybe one or two other records on this label. I forget who the bands are. One of them I like, and the other one is kind of like this one. It's like, it just seems like it's okay, And I'm thinking, is it my age? And I think that must be it, I know the roots of this type of music, and it's like, to me, this is not even second generation, it's like fifth generation. I don't mean that as a put down, it's more like, I know where this comes from and I know how to make it. There's other records like this that hit me like that. It's like, oh, I can do better than that, and I don't mean it as a diss. It's just, that's how it strikes me. So that's one that I played recently to share with you that I have been waiting. Not really waiting, but it's like it's been down there for a while now. Here's one that someone gave me. I forget again who. But this is, again, we're back to wonderful now. This is slow-moving, drone-based, cosmic. No, that's the wrong word. Electronic Curves of Life. Dan Morehouse, Patterns of Growth, Curves of Life. I forget who sent this to me. It's two sidelong electronic pieces that move slow. He doesn't sound like other people. He does not sound like Tangerine Dream or Klaus Schultz or people of that ilk. But this is just wonderful. The timbres that he uses, the way that it moves. Patterns of Growth is the perfect title for this. Curves of Life, Patterns of Growth. Thank you, whoever sent this to me. I'm drawing a blank. It could have been John Coltrane 68. This is the sort of thing that I know. This is the sort of thing I would expect to find in his collection. It was real good. So this is something that was played. It's still sitting down here, so it's recent. Here's something that I have that I got real cheap because it's beat. It's a picture disc. I believe the band, remember the label Asphodel that was trying to do something with drum and bass for a while? Trademark We. Do you remember that? 1997. Antenna, Tool and Die. This is a 12-inch picture disc. It's pretty beat up, but I have a couple more things by the band on vinyl as well as CD, and these guys were good. Not far from what Cold Cut did with sampling and electronics. I like this sort of thing. I do like electronic stuff. I like music where it's open, even though they may be making a particular picture, I am able to receive it as an impression, so I get to see whatever I see at first, and if I eventually see what it is they're painting, that's cool. Here's some records that I hadn't shown. Hadn't played this, but was talking about this online with someone, Robert Fripp Exposure. The reason why it came up was all the flooding here in the Midwest, Nebraska, I'm fine in my neighborhood, but it's my nature to be thinking about people around me and just the people who are really having a hard time recovering because of all the rain. So a song that has continually been popping up in the back of my mind, I hope that music has not distracted too much from hearing me talk during the video, but it's the Peter Gabriel song, Here Comes the Flood. So I posted that the other day, that I was hearing it in my head. Someone who apparently is a Facebook friend, but I don't know, from Adam, posts, "Oh, if you like that, you should hear the version. There's another version on Robert Fripp's Exposure. You know, if you've never heard it." And I'm just thinking, you must be kidding me. This person doesn't know shit about me, you know. And I handled it graciously, but that's what I'm thinking in my mind. It's like, are you kidding me? You know. So I pulled and took a picture and showed it. Of course I have this album, but then I shouldn't be so. But that's who I am, okay? It's like, are you kidding me? Of course I know about this. I haven't played it, but I pulled it to show. This is, there's parts of this album that I always skip over, always. And there's other tracks that are really good. Daryl Hall's contributions are good. Peter Hamill's contributions are good. German band who, Jane, this is their first album together. My favorite of their albums, because they're kind of plain Jane sound. But I was reading something in the Strawberry Bricks, and I pulled it to remind myself. And I really like this first album. It's really no great shakes, but it's just good old German rock. Jane together. And I think that I've been on a while, haven't I? I'm going to let this upload overnight. I don't know how long it will take. I do want to try to piggyback onto some other, music and life. The thing that I had posted today on Facebook, and I mean these things very sincerely, was I was saying everyone could stand to do some self-improvement. There are no exceptions. And then someone who I don't know, but is related to someone I know, really, to me, very stupidly, says, does this go for people who... Oh, it was really a stupid question. It was like, my God, the question is so stupid. All I did was answer. It's like, I already answered the question above. There are no exceptions. I guess I want to go and say this much about El Presidente, who's over in England. Well, he's at the lead of the pack as far as people need to take a look at themselves and do some self-improvement. What a horrible example we have to be the leader of this country. Just almost a complete lack of character and self-esteem. Cannot handle any sort of criticism. His sense of self is so shallow that it's always about, if I can make myself look good to myself, that's all that fucking matters. So adolescent about it that, he does this in front of the entire world constantly, with apparently no self awareness, or a seemingly no mature sense of self-awareness, jumping on Twitter like a child, name calling. Absolutely, he doesn't get a pass. Why would someone like that? Can you give a cogent, coherent answer as to why someone like him would not benefit from taking another look at himself and perhaps working on some self-improvement of personal actions and behaviors and thought patterns. We all, me, all of us, I include myself. That's why I say it. I include myself. I'm a mess. Some of the most brilliant minds and some of the greatest thinkers and some of the most inventive people and most creative throughout history have been some of the most fucked up people. Miserable, many of them miserable bastards, drunken misfits, drug addicts, just messed up, and yet they have this information, they have this thing that they share. I relate to that. That's where this is coming from. I can share things that to me seem clear, knowing that I need the improvement myself, okay? That's never a reason to not try to share something of benefit. The whole idea that there is someone out there that can measure up to these false senses of values of what a good person is, no one can measure up to them. No one ever did. No one ever has. And yet because it's convention, we always default to these. Well, if he's got this sort of background, if he's has this sort of income, and he knew so-and-so and all this bullshit, he must be okay. You know what I'm saying? That's, everybody's full of shit. Quite literally. Even after you go to the restroom, you're still full of feces. Every single one of us. So there's no exceptions to the things I'm saying. And I look online every day. I'm just like everybody else. Social networking is part of what we do, no matter what else we're doing. It ends up being a part of what we're doing. Well, what's going on? Facebook, Instagram, whatever else, And there's just so much finger pointing. Now, when I bring up my criticism of the leaders, it's not finger pointing. Those people are in control of this misery that we're living under, Maybe they're not under control, but it's like they're in positions of power unlike me. That's why I say these things. It's like, man, if only a halfway decent person had control of big resources. So anyway, that's just the point. Again, it's like no one is exempt. Every single person watching this video, you could benefit from taking a deeper look at yourself, how you operate, how you treat people, how you treat yourself, what you think of yourself and others, even your belief system. All of us, many of us just are on autopilot. That's, again, one of the reasons why so many people can be led by the nose by con men and charlatans and phony preachers, because they never question the things that they're brought up with. Question authority. Question reality. I think it's important to just keep this message going. No one is exempt. You ain't too cool. Some of you folks that think you're cool are some of the most fucked up people. You need a good bitch slap. Me and my toothless self. Okay, look at this. I've been going on. It's a half an hour. Certainly hope there's no glitches in getting this uploaded, because I've also had that problem. But, okay, that's enough.